I'm based in Jersey City, New Jersey. I'm really thankful to Lucinda Clark and Leah for giving us the space and opportunity, especially in the times of coronavirus. It's the medium for the poetry readings that's basically bringing us together and like stringing us together in form of art. And I'm also an assistant poetry editor for the UK-based magazine Mukichek and for a US-based arts and literary journal. Currently, I am involved in co-editing an anthology, a feminist anthology, which is based on celebrating 100 years of women's suffrage movement, which is the right to vote in US. And for today, poetry reading, I'm going to be reading three of my pieces. The first one is called Peace, a Metaphor for Denial. Fortunately, this piece has been the first place winner for the Poetry Month challenge done by the Poetry Matters Prize project, and in the adult category. And this poem actually it kind of speaks about the systemic oppression of the African American community, which has been going for so long in our country. And I wrote this piece like last year, and I'm going to be reading this. So it's called Peace, a Metaphor for Denial. Peace, an act of ignorance, an act of denial, is not a bliss, no more. When the silence is gutted like a fish and the blood of your own fills the street, how long can you be puppet in your own peaceful country? The act of abandonment speaks a muted language for all the hearts trapped like sparrows on the other side of the town. The wall creates a boundary between me and humanity. They are still considered illegal with one foot in my land, another bloodied and stuck in the barbed wire that are put around God's own country. I was born with the privilege to call the piece of earth I was born as my own. No matter, it is laced and seeped with someone else's blood. It belongs to me now. The young boy is shot. The pavement is colored by the color of his blood, dark and useless. To the people of this peaceful country, those who pull out the armrest and the beach chairs to see the stars lit up the sky and the deafening noise, muting the wails of a widowed mother. They sip the beer as cold as their souls, leaving the scene with a shrug and a short sigh. Ignorance is bliss. Peace is a metaphor for denial in this country I call mine.
Mm.
The second poem which I'm going to be reading is called Hashtag Games. And this was a finalist last year with the Poetry Matters Prize in the international category. And so, Hashtag Games. We play hashtag games every time the evil scratches its belly. Hunger plays on its forked tongue, mocking humanity. A tag for every survivor, a label for every day. Smears the face with its ashen truth. Justice delayed is justice denied, they willfully say. A day to mourn the loss, where some girl regrets life, her dreams broken and pulverized. Dying a muted death, the day changes, atrocity changes, mask changes, a new hashtag, and pain takes a new shape. A new march, a new route to follow, new placards to paint, new colors to wallow. We keep strangulating our moments, life being squeezed out of it. Black Mondays and dark Fridays, the debilitating pain, till we find the new low and start all over again. We play hashtag games. Victim changes faces, a hamster on a wheel, but the perpetrator remains the same. And the last and the third poem, which I'm going to be reading, is from the book The New Jersey's Best Emerging Poets. It features the top 50 poets of the New Jersey. And it not only featured my poem, but it also opened with the quote from my poem. So the third poem which I'm reading is called Survival is an Art. Survival is an art. What do you do with the wound that is healed? Do you count along the scars as the soul heals and repairs? Or do you scrape it again, not to forget the lesson it reveals? What do you do when the broken heart heals? When it leaves the cracks like that broken vase on my mantelpiece with those deadly leaves? What do you do with the letters written with apology and despair? Your despondent heart stops breathing or starts dreaming a new affair. What do you do when the autumn leaves those dead rolling behind, stripped from the mighty embrace of the old chestnut, reminiscing the days so sublime? Survival is an art. We all are a living testament to this truth. A life begins after severing the umbilical cord from its root. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much for sharing your powerful words. Well, next up is Calvin Pennywell Jr., who will be reading his pieces, No Commercial Breaks and Kobe.
Again, my name is Calvin Wayne Pennywell Jr. I am from Thompson, Georgia, by way of Blytheville, Arkansas. I've been living in Augusta probably for about 6 months, I think. I went to school here, of course, to get my degree in creative writing. And I'm actually going to be reading two pieces. This first piece is actually a piece that I wrote maybe about 2 days ago. I'm like our host. Like I write when I have to, even when something happens immediately. And that's my immediate response, because I know that if I express how I feel about it at that moment, it may come out butchered and very biased. And the last thing I want to do is come off insensitive. So this gave me time to process things that were happening. So the title of this first piece is No Commercial Breaks. Is actually about this transgendered woman that was actually attacked during the riot/protest in, I think, Indianapolis. The video went viral. The one that I saw was approximately 1 second shy of a minute, but it was just enough. So the title is No Commercial Breaks. Peace and love to Ayana Dior. While you were recording, several fists and kicks shoved a transgendered female outside of a convenience store. It was a ridiculous rumble crowded by hate and hypocrisy. You were holding the camera for 1 minute, long enough to film blows disagreeing with her choice in dress and sex. Walking away isn't the payoff. The bruises will trail down the tracks of every decision she will make on behalf of her orientation. What's the difference between holding your lenses and shooting through Ahmad's white shirt? I would have cared and cried to see the ground or a bag of chips as you placed your phone to the side and forfeit your right to watch. You should have parted the crowd, used both hands to deflect and defend. You could have detached her body from this trench of terror. Instead, you decided to keep our eyes on the madness, witnessing her bend into violence with people protesting against being human. You gave us a movie in 59 seconds, no commercial breaks, long enough to show bigotry branching out into our own territory. The second and last piece will be Kobe. This is my book, Resignation. You can find it on lulu.com. That's lulu.com. It's an online publishing company. I actually have copies here. For those of you who are local, if you're still interested in purchasing it, $12. I can meet you somewhere with gloves and a mask if that makes you feel secure, and we can do an exchange then. But I actually was finishing this book on January 26th. Like, I was typing it up, and then I received the news that Kobe Bryant passed. And the reason why that hurt so much was because me and my best friend, who was my best man at my wedding, this guy meant a lot to us. We've been watching him since 1998. You know, we actually saw him grow up. And as an athlete, he was very admirable. And then later, as a husband and as a father, it really hit home. So this is actually the last poem of this book, because I was already done with it. But once he passed, I knew I had to include it as a conclusion. So the name of this is Kobe. This one hurt. Dribble, pass, or shoot. Which one does it take to win the championship 3 times in a row? Maybe a dunk with a broken finger or a free throw with a torn Achilles. The news tagline guts out tears with every channel. A father with 4 girls knows how to enjoy wearing tiaras. Through the legs, behind the back, split the defense, catch 2 men off guard before slamming hard into a New Jersey number. Stephen A. Smith is asked how he feels and can't look into the camera. This kid turned pro at 17. This feels like a baseball hit to the throat. I'm certain he didn't predict 6 rings, including a promise to Vanessa, while acting and posing next to Brandy. My best friend and I sat at the table over hot dogs and revelations, unable to stop scrolling through videos and pictures of him and Gigi. He could rap in Italian. I remember the high school cafeteria discussions about him and Tracy McGrady. He was a snake bite you didn't mind receiving. His venom would have cured your lack of ball handles and poor field goal percentage. Do you remember his Sprite commercials? I woke up the next morning and the news exploded in my stomach again. He was a king before James. He sported the fro long enough to influence my haircut choice. Make it round, I asked. He was a killer, wearing the purple 8, guarding Michael Jordan before he stepped down in the kingdom. Walking to the gym, I have the flamingos on repeat because I need something slow. His jumpers were daggers, stabbing egos, bleeding sweat under shot clocks. His daughter was becoming something different. She was dangerous to contain, difficult to separate from her dad. He was grooming her, becoming absent from the body and being present in the Hall of Fame. I don't want to watch another game if he doesn't exist. I want to know that he's enjoying his girls while the league crowns LeBron. The gate upstairs opened up for 9 people. He never stopped lifting, juking, posting, spinning, running, learning. He and Shaq would execute 2 points and make the crowd break your ears. This had to be a lie. Nobody that bright could defuse at 41. We had more time, right? I'm looking at my watch and his ended yesterday. I remember the Crazy Eights, the all-star alley-oop from Kevin Garnett in 1998, the years he never gave up, the city that made him gold, the fans that made him family. Dribble, crossover, pass, shoot, dribble, pass, MJ, and all-time scoring, dribble one last time with 60 points. Crossover your defender, crossover into perfect love, fly away, come back, and your highlights and humility so we can see how great you will always be.
Thank you so much for your moving words. Next up will be Raven reading her pieces Moonlight and Power.
I'm Raven, and this first piece I'm going to be reading is called Moonlight. I should go ahead and tell you first where I'm from. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I was born and raised here. Did a little bit of moving around, so I guess it kind of gave me a little more, emphasis on how other people's lives were other than my little hometown. And that'll come into play later. But for Moonlight, it's kind of about being in the country and just enjoying time with a special person. And so here it is. Moonlight. So I heard a cricket chirp and it took me back to a time so peaceful, so serene. Something right now in my life I lack. Right now my life being so impure and unclean. I recall laying under the moonlight, being held under your arm. It felt so wonderful and right. I just knew I would come to no harm. I wish that we could have forever remained that way, but sadly even the moonlight shrinks away from the light of day. And the next piece I'll be reading is Power, and it's kind of when I searched inside myself and realized that I'm stronger than I thought I was. I kind of recognized my inner strength. Power. This new power I have discovered, always thought it was an enemy. Now a secret I have uncovered will now be my best source of weaponry. If used correctly, this could be my valued ally, but if I let it take over, it could be the end of me. That is why we shall both willingly comply. Then this power shall be our cup of tea. But one must remember that even with power, there are still ones who can make us cower.
Thank you so much. Well, after all of this, I feel encouraged to possibly share some of my work. So I'm going to be sharing this poem I wrote when I was 16 called, a little humorously, Do I Really Have Daddy Issues? Okay. Sorry, I'm just finding it. Okay.
All right.
The rank of toasted head Chardonnay seeps into my fingertips as I walk past the street corner where I used to ride my bike 8 years ago. 8 years ago, my fingertips were ripped raw from the concrete. Get back up. The sidewalk wouldn't let me quit. She was a testy bitch. The handles gripped my bony fingers in a stiff yet melodic fashion. One rotation after the other, I made it. I was welcomed by that same Times Roman font, freshly polished for my arrival. I did it, with 3 seconds to spare. The water beneath the street grate gurgled, record time. Rub your nose in it, breathe it in. Meet your new queen. Crown me in branches and crabgrass. The sidewalk was now my red carpet. I floated down the street, legs at 180 degrees to the pavement, sailing down. Ass on the bike, but head in the clouds. And then I ended up with my ass on the ground and head in the dirt. Are you awake? How many fingers am I holding up? Who even taught you how to ride a bike? My older sister. And that is it. So, thank you all so much for coming, and I hope this event gave a piece of normalcy to our ever-changing world. Please like and share this event once it is posted on Facebook, and if you'd like to attend our next open mic night, email info@poetrymattersproject.org. Have a great night, and thank you so much. Okay, well, bye guys.
Bye.